so we'll get to, you guys will all do SAMTide in a minute. And part of SAMTide, we have the induction drugs that are listed. And I have the sheet somewhere. Find that sheet when you guys. Right here. The induction drugs that are listed, and then also the emergency drugs. We've went through that already. Your emergency drugs are placed in a towel that'll last you the whole day in here. Okay, hopefully you don't need it if you have it. With that said, we're now going to do, I'm going to do a regular induction for you all so that you guys can start to practice this going through the rest of the day, okay, or the rest of the week. When we first start up, this is the one I'm using, the whole basic anesthesia setup. We're past SAMTide, we're now at this basic steps of an anesthetic induction. So walk in the room, I've done my case, I've moved my eye tape over to the mask so that it'll let me know when I'm able to use it. Okay, I'm gonna go get my patient outside. This is my basic steps. And you guys will do exactly what I'm doing. You'll walk out to the door. I got Kevin. Kevin's getting his anesthetic. I've given him his preoperative Versed. It's important that you get it preoperatively. It is an anterograde anesthetic, right? You walk in. As an instructor, someone will be over here. Me, usually, doing that. First thing you're going to do is come in and pre-oxygenate your patient. First thing you're going to do, make sure you turn the oxygen on, checking your APLs off or on minimum, putting this on your patient. Paying particular attention to make sure this is making the best seal that it can. I'm not smashing it on his face. I'm not doing it's an awake patient, okay? And as I do that, I come over here, I turn my alarms on. You have to tap each one of the things that you need to turn off. You would have to tap the EKG, the blood pressure, the end-tidal CO2. This end-tidal O2 and inspiratory O2, you would have to hit that and turn it on. It looks like this when you come in. You would have to hit that and hit on for that to read. With your non-invasive blood pressure, that is the first monitor that you turn on. And why is that the first one we get going? It takes the longest. So I would hit that, it would bring it up, and I would come down here. It defaults to manual. You want to first turn that to auto every 2 minutes. You can close that, and then you can hit start stop. I just turned the ABP on. We don't need arterial blood pressure, but once you hit it, you're kind of committed. We'll leave it there for right now. So I'm letting that go. The reason I make sure you make a big deal about changing it from manual to auto, because inevitably what happens is you guys get nervous when you come in here the first time you do a general anesthetic induction. You hit start stop, you see a blood pressure, you're thinking, okay, we're good to go, and you continue to proceed. Then you give your anesthetic agents in a little bit. Your patient looks to have a 125/80 blood pressure, but he's tachycardic. You have no idea why, and you fumble trying to figure out why. You start giving drugs to fix the tachycardia, maybe Esmolol and all that, having no idea why he's really tachycardic. It's a normal physiologic baroreceptor reflex. You're not putting it together because you're nervous, and then I'm starting to look at you funny, and just it's this downward spiral. It can all be avoided by hitting the auto. Okay, does that make sense? Made a big deal about it. It's probably important. So I'm getting all those on. Now, when you see me here, all of my monitors, I've placed those on. Precordial stethoscope connected to earpiece. We would have one of those if we needed. I'm going to take that out for you guys right now until we get to pediatrics, okay? You don't need that one. My drugs attached to my manifold. 3 drugs if we had a manifold. We're not going to have it here, but if you go to like CRMC or some places, we have a drug manifold that can connect 2 or even 3 different drugs. Typically 3. You can have our lidocaine, our propofol, or muscle relaxants. We're going to be using succinylcholine. Still need to give my narcotic, right? And I give my narcotic immediately after the Versed or the first induction drug. It's the next drug to come to sequence. So I would give him 150 micrograms, of the fentanyl right after my timeout. And my anesthesia timeout, that I just got out of order here, would be that I'm making sure that he's being pre-oxygenated 5 liters with an APL that is open. All of my monitors are ready to go. What else? And I'm in bag mode. My vaporizers are off. Everything is good to go. Who thinks I'm ready to do an induction? Who does not think I'm ready? You're shaking your head no. Nobody knows Keith. Why? Tell us why.
Is your end-tidal oxygen?
My end-tidal oxygen is not suffice. It's 15%. What do I want my end-tidal oxygen to be before I push? 80%. Why 80%?
Give you a little room.
because we fully denitrogenated or pre-oxygenated the patient. We want that FRC saturated with oxygen. So so I say that purposely because when you go to do your induction, look up here, take a look at everything. The EKG is not some funky rhythm. We have a good blood pressure, heart rate's good, we have good end-tidal CO2. Make sure you pay attention to this, that they are pre-oxygenated. If not, you'll sit over here and say, I'm just waiting to pre-oxygenate the patient. Go in the mask there, okay? Once it's at 80%, then you've done your anesthesia timeout, you can now give your drugs. 150 mics of fentanyl. You'll give your 100 milligrams of lidocaine, depending upon weight, 150 to 200 milligrams of Ipravian. Would I push a muscle relaxant? Not yet, why? So I'd be waiting, as it says here, for a loss of consciousness.
Kind of relax, do the eye lash test.
We will do that. So you'll notice he closed his eyes, checking lash reflex, and I will tell you it is gone. So then you'll pull the tape off the eyes. You're going to see an alarm up here in a second come off. You're going to try to establish an airway. My alarm's telling me he's not initiating respirations, right? I'm going to pause the alarm, consciously making an effort of that. I'm going to try to ventilate the patient. What if you can't ventilate the patient? What are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? Great. Oral airway. This is going to be the hardest thing that you guys have ever done. I know you guys think I've done a lot of codes on it. You just haven't ventilated, especially with an anesthesia machine. You're going to make a seal, and you can ventilate him. You'll see end-tidal CO2 or chest rise if you can. And I'll get you an easier mask I have over there to use. But we're going to say that we established ventilation, and what you would see with the ventilation is his respirations come back. I'm doing it myself right now. So I've established that I can ventilate him. What am I going to do? What's my next step? Muscle relaxant. How much are we going to give of suctional choline? 70 kilos. We'll give him 100 milligrams. Okay. So establish that. What does suctional choline do? What kind of muscle relaxant? What am I going to look for before I'm ready to intubate? Good. Notice my laryngoscope, my ET tube is right here, waiting for fasciculation. So I would be ventilating him, right, as I'm waiting for fasciculation. Here's what your fasciculations will look like. He's now fasciculating. Okay. Keep this close in case you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin is just very funny.
Okay, that's fine. So when we grab the laryngoscope, this is a very, this can be brutal, right? This could kill somebody. So don't hold it like this is what I'm trying to get at. Be very fine precision with this. When I go this is going to do a scissor method. You'll come in there and hit the teeth. You see this in his teeth? No, we'll leave his teeth out. But right, a scissor method, you're going to get back in the molars. Open that mouth up, first of all. That's just to introduce the tip of my blade. Once this blade is in at all, you don't need your hand there anymore. Move this to the right side of the mouth, making sure that I'm not going to pinch a lip in between the teeth or anything. And I'm going to walk down the back of the tongue, pushing out. Caudate pressure. I'm going to see the epiglottis. I got it. We'll talk about how to use a Macintosh blade where it seats. It seats in the vallecula. You guys learned that in anatomy already, I'm assuming. You will. You have it. And I see the vallecula, and I see it in the vallecula. I'm lifting up and out. See my inlet. Well, putting right past. I don't know if you can see it. That's fine. The cuff is going right past the vocal cords right there. Yep. Okay. We don't need this anymore. Shut that. I'm holding here at the corner. Pull out your stylet. Try not to bend that to hell. Inflate the cuff, let it come out as much as it can. That pressure is going to re-inflate. That's fine there now. You just heard him go asystole. You have sinus pause. We're still okay. That was a joke, I guess. No. Okay. I'm going to give him some respirations. How would I know that he's ventilating right now? That'll so too. What else?
Chest
Fogging in the ENT.
Good. So I do have bilateral chest rise, I have bilateral breath sounds, and I've confirmed with my manual ventilation there. Now opening that up, lowering my flows, turning some gas on, and sweeping back right to left, coming back, turning him on the ventilator. I'm going to turn down his volume to 200 mLs. Grabbing, and I'll tell you why 200 mLs in a bit. Now I'm putting the tape on. When you tape this, don't tape it up here because that will allow this to move, right? Tape it as close as you can to where you place the tube. Okay, good to go. Silence your alarms, take a look at what it is. It's just your rate. We can turn our rate up. Real quick, so I turned his tidal volumes down to 200. The reason why is because his lungs won't take a 500 cc tidal volume. If we do that, and we'll inevitably have to replace a couple lungs with you guys, I'll tell you that right now, because we'll pop them, right? We don't want to do that. So two things you can do, tidal volumes at 200 or less, or you can switch him over to pressure control. Okay, ventilation mode, there's volume control, I'm going to go to pressure control, and turn him down way low to say, I'd turn him to 15. Okay. Pressure, I want to go above 15, or I would go to 200 cc tidal volumes. That's pretty much that. Does that make sense? I think so. We've intubated, we confirmed that, we secured the endotracheal tube. You're doing your first induction. Does that make sense? Now you do it. Questions? You all got it all? No questions? No questions, no questions.
No, that was more straightforward than the machine is.
Yeah, this is the induction portion. This is just induction, not maintenance or anything like that.
Yeah, the same maintenance, just induction. I'll tell you real quick in 2 minutes how to do maintenance.
Turn on the gas.
Now gas on.
Oh, it's already on.
Now, for maintenance, you sit in your chair, make sure
New
you
York
keep your
Times.
patient physiologic, maybe New York Times if you like that. Watching them, getting them ready for the case. We'll get into that. Maintenance isn't that hard. Induction and extubation, emergence extubation, your hardest part. Okay?
So we're,
That's it. Yeah?
so we're only going to be doing IV inductions for now, and then we'll do endotracheal inductions another time.
Endotracheal induction.
I mean, like
Mask.
like with SIVO or something.
Yeah, you guys will do a mask induction with SIVO. We'll get that before you go out of here, but it's not something you really do in a sim lab.
Oh, okay.
You'll learn in the sim lab, but you're not really do it in a sim lab. Just because it's this matter of just that mask at the beginning, and then doing this. Flying a 738, so 7 liters of nitrous, 3 liters of oxygen, 8 liters of that with the mask. We do it the Navy way, so you kind of put your arms like this, so you headlock the little kid so he doesn't move. I'm not joking. You'll put the kid in the headlock because they like to get all crazy, and then what inevitably happens is that you lose a seal with all that gas when they're in stage 2, and they laryngospasm. Everybody freaks out and it looks really bad. Or you can put them in a headlock, and when they cry, it's a great thing because they're taking bigger breaths of this gas, and about 3 or 4 breaths, they'll go right to sleep. So they're not going to even remember the headlock. Trust me. So now you know how to do a mask induction.
Great.
All right.